friends, it's Nancy, and we have Pauline with us. I hope you've enjoyed watching me put Pauline together. And she's finished. I'm ready to do a flip through. Can you believe it? So we'll do some measuring. Pauline is almost 5 inches by about almost 7.5 inches. And the spine is about 1.5 inches, give or take. And I've closed her with this snippet roll that I made using all kinds of bits and pieces of lace. And I've just stitched on these little snaps to keep it closed. But there's little room yet to add stuff. So here's the snippet. It's got vintage shell buttons, it has crochet lace, it has bridal applique, all kinds of good stuff. There's a little shell button there. Everything's stitched on, but it's, what you call shabby chic. That's the word. So this is a book called Pauline. And I believe, let me sneak peek, it was 1901. So this book is 121 years old. Oh my goodness. So let's get started. I should show you the profile. Lots of lace and textiles. There's sari silk, there's ribbons, there's buttons, there's all kinds of goodies in here. So we'll just take a look at that. So on the inside, I have taken this miniature envelope that has been tea dyed, and it opens up. You can put a little secret something or other in there. And this tag I made from a piece that it was a piece of oh my goodness, get your words out, Nancy, packaging that I just did a little bit of collage on, added a little bit of this lace, fussy cut flowers, and she just tucks right in there. For the first time in a very, very long time, I used paper for the inside covers. This is Tim Holtz. I have a fussy cut here just to decorate this front page. This is an original page to the book. You can see it says 1901 there. And the author of the book is called Pansy. That's sort of her pen name. So this is some vintage lace. Here's some tea-dyed paper. This is from a very old book. The first decade of the 1900s. Here's some old ledger paper. I've done a little bit of stenciling on there. This is an old piece of music paper. This came from a book about dahlias, however you pronounce it. And I made this lace and fabric cluster with an antique shell button stitched on as a tab. Some more stenciling. And some more vintage lace. And here at the back, this is a trade card for some kind of pain reliever. And you would buy it at this Crow Medicines, I guess. Can't remember what the name of the... It's got a knife here. Maybe the kid cut her finger with a knife. Anyway, it's a pocket. And this is a true authentic piece of ephemera. And I just took this page from an old guest book, inked it up a little bit on the edges, and then added this little faux ticket here with a bird just to just to give it a little bit of interest there. More of the original book page, but added some different lace, slightly different lace. Tea-dyed paper. This is a page from a book from Elizabeth Barrett Browning. Another vintage ledger page, which I decorated with a little bit of stenciling. This came from a notebook. I believe it has something to do with electricity. I don't know. But I think the handwriting is very nice. Yeah, something about a transmitter here. This is a piece from a Braille magazine. A lot of it is blank. The Braille sort of just comes across the top. And this is a huge antique shell button that I've layered on top of this lace and fabric tab. Some tea-dyed grid paper. This is a vintage letter from 1899, I believe. And there's that little fly again. Oh my gosh, it's making me crazy. And the original letter is in here. Let's just double check if there's a date on it. Yeah, December 6th, 1899. So I just added teeny tiny little collage here so that anyone looking in the book would see that, oh, there's something to pull out there. Let's pull that out. And this is an old postcard. This is from 1900, November 11th, 1900. And it has these pretty pink and red roses. Some tatting on the edge here. This has a little bit of lace and some silk, sari silk. This could be used as a shallow tuck pocket, but I wouldn't use anything heavier than, you know, a piece of paper, because this is very delicate lace and I don't think it would hold anything heavier than that. Some more of that Braille paper. This came from a book about gardening. Isn't it gorgeous? And it has pansies. This is another old ledger. There's a dictionary page. And this is a vintage, well, it's an antique postcard. Doesn't have a date on it. But I didn't want to cover up the back because, you know, you'd want to see the back maybe. So I added a page of book page, just a little piece of book page so you could journal on the back. And I love the flowers. Another little tab with the antique shell buttons there. This is another trade card. So this is for Thurber's Strictly Pure Flavoring Extracts. And you turn it over and you could see all of the things that they manufacture. So that is another genuine piece of ephemera. This piece, this has a little bit of hand tatting there. Some more antique trim. This came from a art book for pastels, I believe. I thought it was good color. I love the striped effect it has. This came from a little embroidery book about how to work monograms. There's some, this ledger is actually tea-dyed, and I did a little bit of stencil. This came from a book, a children's book. And I thought the illustrations were so pretty. So there's the bird, flowers, another giant. And do you see how it's kind of incised around the edge to make sort of this star? I hope I wasn't too high up all this time. Here's Thumbelina. She's getting, we will call you May Blossom. Maybe you remember seeing me make this pocket from this old Fleshman's yeast recipe booklet. So I just added these little fussy cut teacups to be a pull to open that up. Now, if you want to, you can layer paper on top to do some journaling, or just, just enjoy it. Always use Fleshman & Company's compressed yeast for your root beer. And I kind of experimented making this tag. So I've got some vintage ledger. This is an old letter. This is a piece of vintage greeting card. And this is the wrapper from a tape measure that it's kind of a metallic foil. And I glued that on as sort of the pull. So it just goes back in there. I'm always nervous about doing those collage kind of things. This tips out for extra writing space. More vintage lace. This is hand crocheted lace here. It's just very fine, almost just the barest of threads, really. Here's some more. Well, see, it says parallel circuits, so that's what makes me think it's got to be physics or electronics. Ledger with a little bit of why can't I get the word stencil out? Oh my gosh. Another page from that book of embroidery. This came from a reproduction of a book about Spencerian handwriting. Another little fabric lace button tab. This is sort of a paper. It looks like parchment. This tips out as well. This is from a, it's not a ledger, it's a composition book, a school composition book. And I just added this little collage here. I think I did a video for that. And this is another vintage, sorry, this one's antique for sure. Another antique trade card. And I just backed it with a little bit of book page, torn edge, and gave it some ink. And I think that's really pretty. It has pink roses in it. A little bit more stencil there. Some more lace. Some more lace. This came from an antique address book. This came from a vintage gardening book, and it talks about pansies here. This is vintage, this is antique ledger, and it flips out, and I have this little book page here. I reinforced the fold, so I moved the ledger out a bit to create this little fold. And here's a little tag that I made. And inside is another antique piece of ephemera. And on the back it says, Isabella Fernie's farewell, dear sister, until we meet, Elmira Beard. So this book page makes a little pocket here. I don't think I'm actually stuck in anything. It's just an awkward angle for me. So I like the pinks and the pink stripes, and yeah, got a lot going on there. Another big, beautiful pearl button, shell button. Some more stenciling. Another piece of tatting, and this one I'm in love with. It's gorgeous. Sometimes you find tatting and it's like it's almost string, and then there's other times you find tatting and it's just so delicate. It's just a thread, really. Some more vintage lace on the original book page. This is an unused postcard, and it shows the state flower of Texas, blue bonnets, and I thought that was absolutely gorgeous. With the purple and gold sky, yellow, and then the blue, it's just a carpet of blue flowers. Vintage composition book. This came from an 1871 music book. This was sort of the title page and contents, and I thought this was gorgeous. I love all of the different fonts. And I love that the person who had it before me marked 1871. Ledger just folds out. This is from a vintage plant wildflower book, and it just has some pretty wildflowers. There's another little tab there. American, French, German, and Italian was what it said. Glees, trios, quartets. Entered according to an act of Congress in the year 1871. Vintage composition book paper. And the final page. So this little thing, it flips open, and there's some paper in there. That's avocado dyed, and this also makes a pocket, and I have a tea stained envelope here, and the envelope opens right up, so you can use it for hidden journaling, or you can choose to glue it back together and use it as a regular envelope. This also has a carved pearl button there and some vintage seam binding. This is, I made this library pocket from a page from Edith Holden. And this is a library card. The name of the book was Illustrating Nature. I thought that was a pretty good title. And I've just added this little lace snippet at the top to use as a tab pull. So there she is. There's Pauline. I hope you enjoyed this series, watching me put Pauline together. If Pauline is something that you would like to have in your home, she's listed in my Etsy shop. Go over and take a look. And yeah, I can't wait to start working on the next project. So thank you again for joining me. I hope you thought this was interesting, and take care. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.